Dr. Gabo Mate, an expert on stress, trauma, and the body and the mind, talks about our childhood stress and trauma that we act out as adults. And that's an interesting finding that he has come up with through his research. So that means as children, we cope with our traumas of separation from our parents or even the inattention from our parents, because it's not because our parents are mean and nasty, just that our parents' stressful lives have not paid attention to our needs. So that leaves a huge gap, and we learn coping mechanisms that then play out when we are adults in terms of the coldness in the way we approach things, perhaps being stuck on the left brain, being stuck on the reptilian side of our brain for survival, and then the lower part of the mammalian limbic brain, because our brain has three functions to make it easy for us to understand the brain. So that's the reptilian, limbic, and the prefrontal cortex. So we tend to get stuck in the lower realms of the brain to cope with these difficult situations. But Dr. Gabo Mate, along with other neuroscientists like Jill Bolte Taylor, talk about mindfulness and meditation to transcend. So in Jill Bolte Taylor's case, she talks about us being stuck on the left side of the brain, which can be tyrannical, which can be judgmental, which can be competing and manipulative and mean towards ourselves, and then by extension that meanness then spills over to the outside world. So all of this, even Jill Bolte Taylor and Gabo Mate talk about mindfulness as a way of transcending us being stuck in these old patterns. And I really wonder also, in looking at the world out there, in terms of the conflict, in terms of the wars, in terms of the poverty and the disparities that exist there, in terms of the kind of ideologies and the dogmas that we can hold on to, because are they a function of those traumas that we had in our childhood, to hold on as anchors to some of those ideologies and dogmas that may then come across as being mean and nasty ways of looking at the world and operating the world. So those are all issues that are out there right now in the world that we can shine a light on. And I'm so fascinated by the fact that neuroscientists and doctors and experts are now talking about mindfulness as a way of transcending those and to becoming aware and coming to the prefrontal cortex of our brain, which is the executive function, which is the area of the brain that then leaves behind those primal reactions to become much more discerning, much more open, much more regulatory, to regulate our emotional functions, to really put things in a better perspective. So this is why I continue to be excited about this ancient practice of mindfulness, and now how modern science is also validating that practice. And hopefully through this kind of practice, I can then focus on myself and to deal with my traumas and stresses that arose from my childhood, to transcend them, to find that inner peace, because I know when I find that inner peace myself, that I can be at peace with my neighbor, and that way we can find harmony in the world.